The way I'm going to be explaining things is I'm going to have an example, so you could copy it down for notes. I'm calling the second one a you try. So the goal is you try it, really try the problem, do as much as you can, and then watch the rest. And then I will show how to do the homework problem, which you should also try first. Like really try it and then watch the video, because you really only learn if you make mistakes and then learn from the mistakes instead of just copying everything down. Okay, so this problem, it wants you to graph this equation. There's different ways you can do this, so I'm going to show you both. First off, this is in the format y equals mx plus b. It's called slope-intercept form. So if you hear that term used, that's what they're referring to. M stands for the slope of a line, that's the steepness. And the B term is the y-intercept. Like in football, it's where the line crosses the y-axis. And then x is just the x-coordinate and y is the y-coordinate. So I have graph paper because to graph, technically, to be accurate, you should have graph paper. I don't know how picky your professor is going to be. So I'm going to draw my y-axis and I'm going to draw my x-axis. Now, the most basic way you can graph anything, which you're going to need to know for a lot of future problems, is an input-output table. So alphabetically, x comes first and then y. So what happens is we plug x in, then the result will be y. And most common numbers to use are two negatives. So the smallest ones make things usually the easiest. So -2 and so on. So what we do is we're going to plug into this equation. Whenever you have a number right next to a variable, it means multiply. So for the first part here, we're going to plug in -2. That means y is going to equal 2. And instead of an x, I put parentheses to show that I'm multiplying by -2. And then I write the -3. So we always do multiplication before subtraction. So we're going to do -2 times 2, or 2 times -2. -4 minus 3. These are both negative, means we're losing money, we're losing more money. So we add them together and we get -4 minus 3 is -7. So this is -7. So to graph this, negative is the left, positive is the right. We start at 0, 0, and you go -2, and then you go down -7. Now, for sake of space on here, I'm going to call this -1, -2, and I'm going to label it, as long as you label things. So that's -6, and right here in between, this is -2. These ones I am counting by 1. These I'm counting by 2s, which is totally fine as long as you label. So -2 and -7. And then we're going to plug in -1. So 2 times -1 minus 3. -1 times 2 is -2 minus 3. Both negative again, so we add them together and we get -5. So -1 is here, down to -5, and you put a dot. Then we're going to plug in 0. 0 times 2. I'm just plugging back into this equation. -3. 2 times 0 is 0 minus 3. 0 minus 3 is -3. Kind of didn't give myself a lot of space for this. So here's 0, and we go down to -3 and put a dot. I'm going to go ahead and write small and write the work over here. So now we're plugging in 2 times 1 minus 3. 2 times 1 is 2 minus 3. Now here we have $2, but then we borrow $3. So we do 3 minus 2 because you take away from the bigger value, but there's more debt because we have 2, but we're losing 3. So therefore it's -1. And if they let you use a calculator, you can just plug that in a calculator. So we're going to go over 1 and down to -1, which is here. And then the last one, 2 times 2 minus 3. 2 times 2 is 4, minus 3 is +1. So you go over to +2, because the positive direction, oops, sorry, you can't even see the graph. So the last one was +1 down to -1, and now we're at 2. Now this is 1, 2, 3, because I counted by 2s. So 2 and up 1. You should always connect your dots with a straight line. A lot of professors will want you to use a ruler. I'm freehanding right now, and arrows. Arrows mean it goes on forever, because I could plug in -1,000,000. -1,000,000 times 2 would be -2,000,000. -2,000,000 minus 3 would be -2,000,003. And so that would be way down here. So the arrows just say it goes on forever. The next one here are you try. Go ahead and try it. Pause this video. But I'm going to go ahead and, I forgot to explain the shortcut on this one. So you can use a shortcut, y equals mx plus b. So y equals mx plus b. M is 2 in this case, and it's a 2 over 1, because any whole number we can put over 1 because it's the same thing. 2 divided by 1 is just 2. And the b value is negative 3. B is where you begin on the graph. It's a shortcut. So you go to negative 3 on the y-axis because it's the y-intercept. So you go down to negative 3. Do you see how the dot is on the y-axis? And then you can count your slope. This is your steepness. You go up 2 squares over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Here, I'm going to flip it over and show you the shortcut on the back. Okay, so shortcut, y equals 2x plus 3. Oh, minus 3. Sorry, it's a minus 3. Okay, so the minus 3 is you go down to negative 3 on the y-axis. This time I'm counting by 1s instead of 2s. And then I go up 2 over 1 because the slope is 2 over 1. So starting here, we begin at the y-intercept. Then you go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, connect with a line and arrows. That's the shortcut instead of making the table. Okay, so on to this one. Hopefully you try it and then you watch this. If there's no number in front of a variable, technically there's a 1. I tell my students it's a little ninja because he's invisible and he's sneaky. But if there's nothing there, it means you have 1 of it. You have 1x. So in this case, the slope, the m, is 1 and the b is 4. So the shortcut that I showed you on the last one is you draw your axes. Y, x. And on this one, we begin at the y-intercept, which is positive 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's up here. And then 1 means 1 over 1. So you go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Or you could go down 1, left 1, because negative, negative, if you go negative 1 over negative 1, and negative divided by negative is a positive, so it's still 1. And then we draw our line and arrows. Now, if you don't do the shortcut and you do a table on this one, input-output table, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, you should get, this one would be negative 2 plus 4, which is 2. This would be negative 1 plus 4, which is 3. 0 plus 4, 4, 1 plus 4, 5, 1 plus 2, plus 4. I don't know what I started doing there, 6. So then if you look over here, we would have negative 2 up 2, which is there, negative 1 up 3, 0, 4, 1, 5, 2, 6. And so it matches. Okay, so for your homework, we have y equals 3x plus 1. If you haven't already, please pause and try this one. Okay, shortcut. We draw our axes, label y and x. And we have positive 1 is the y-intercept. So that means we go, I'm going to count by 1s here. So this is positive 1. And then this is a 3 over 1. So we go up 3, right 1. Up 3 from this point. You start here. 1, 2, 3, right 1. Up 3, right 1. Or I could go backwards. Down 3, left 1. And we connect with a straight line and arrows. Now, non-shortcut is you would do a table, input, output. Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. You plug in negative 2 times 3 plus 1. Let's plug it into the equation. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. 3 times negative 1 plus 1, I'm doing the next one. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. 0 times 3 plus 1. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. Next one, 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. I'm rushing because I think my phone's going to cut off at 10 minutes. So just to confirm, we have negative 2, negative 5. Down over negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we wanted to extend the line, it would go through this point. And then